Level 1, the intake desk. The elevator stops 23 floors underground. No music, no floor numbers. Just a soft mechanical click and the sound of your own breathing inside a mirrored steel box. When the doors open, 3 men are already waiting. None of them smile. One takes your passport. Another takes your phone. The third studies your face like he's trying to decide whether you're expensive or disposable. You already know the answer. The office sits beneath a luxury casino on the coast of Cyprus, hidden below marble lobbies and baccarat tables filled with drunk millionaires. Upstairs, tourists lose money slowly. Down here, countries lose it all at once. A woman in a gray suit walks you through a corridor lined with frosted glass offices. Nobody speaks above a whisper. Even keyboards sound restrained. Never write names, she says. That is the first rule. You are level 1 now. Intake desk. You process shell companies for clients you never meet directly. Belize, Seychelles, Panama. You copy registration numbers into encrypted ledgers while pretending not to notice the patterns. One company owns another, which owns another, which owns a dead man's yacht. By your second week, you create 14 offshore entities before lunch. Total value moved, $83 million. You make $4,500 a month. The cartel keeps the difference. At first, it feels clean, corporate, professional. The men wear tailored suits and expensive watches. Meetings happen over imported espresso, not guns. Then a courier arrives bleeding through his shirt. Nobody reacts. The blood drips onto Italian tile, while 2 accountants continue discussing wire transfer schedules. You realize violence exists here too. It's just hidden behind balance sheets. One night, your supervisor hands you a file stamped black veil. You never saw this account, he says. Inside are transaction records linked to a defense minister in South America, 2 sanctioned oil executives, and a private military contractor operating in West Africa. Total holdings, $2.4 billion. You stare too long. Your supervisor notices. You're not here to understand the money, he says quietly. You're here to move it. You stop asking questions after that. Not because you trust them, because you want level 2. Level 2, the cleaner. They move you to compliance. That word sounds harmless. It isn't. Compliance means cleaning problems before regulators discover them. You alter timestamps, restructure ownership chains, dissolve suspicious accounts before investigations mature. You erase footprints for people powerful enough to disappear consequences. Every morning begins with a red folder. Every red folder contains risk. You work 12-hour shifts in a room with no windows, correcting inconsistencies across 6 jurisdictions before international banking monitors flag them. A missing signature in Singapore. A suspicious transfer in Zurich. A frozen account connected to a Russian shipping magnate. Your job is making illegal money look boring. At level 2, respect comes from speed. You learn to reroute $12 million through 4 shell corporations in under 19 minutes. You memorize tax loopholes like scripture. You stop seeing numbers as money. Numbers become survival. One evening, a senior handler named Kovac invites you to dinner at a private marina. No menus. No phones allowed. A yacht floats nearby with its lights turned off. Kovac explains the real hierarchy over grilled sea bass and bourbon. Clients sit at the top. Partners below them. Handlers below the partners. Everyone else is expendable. You're replaceable too, he says calmly. But less than before. That almost sounds like praise. On your way out, you notice 2 security contractors dragging a screaming man down the dock toward the dark yacht. Nobody looks. Neither do you. That is the moment your conscience starts negotiating with your ambition. And ambition wins quickly. Level 3, account custodian. The accounts have names now. Not official names. Internal ones. Ghost Orchid, Black Harbor, King's Fall. Each represents billions in hidden assets tied to politicians, arms dealers, oligarchs, intelligence assets, and organized crime syndicates. You become custodian for 6 of them. That means you no longer process transactions. You protect ecosystems. Every account has hidden dependencies. One frozen wire transfer can destabilize elections or expose covert operations. Entire governments quietly rely on the cartel's silence. You begin traveling constantly. Geneva, Dubai, Singapore, Nassau. Private terminals only. Always escorted. You carry encrypted drives handcuffed to your wrist during flights. The drives contain account recovery protocols worth more than some national treasuries. At level 3, information becomes currency, and you are becoming rich in it. One client terrifies everyone. A Balkan energy tycoon with private militias and 3 passports. He requests a midnight meeting inside a Monaco penthouse overlooking the harbor. No guards visible. That makes it worse. He asks if his assets are secure from European sanctions. You assure him they are. He studies you for 10 seconds too long. Then he asks, "Would you lie to me if they weren't?" You realize this system has no legal protections, only reputation. You answer carefully, "I wouldn't survive lying to you." For the first time, he smiles. Back at headquarters, your promotion arrives without ceremony. A new access card, a larger apartment, a Glock 19 placed silently inside your desk drawer. Nobody explains why you need it now. You understand anyway. Level 4, the facilitator. You stop protecting wealth. You start creating it. Level 4 operators engineer opportunities for clients. Sanctions avoidance. Political destabilization. Currency manipulation. Offshore acquisitions hidden through 20 layers of ownership. You become part banker, part intelligence operative. You coordinate with lawyers in London, hackers in Bucharest, shipping brokers in Hong Kong, and mercenaries guarding cobalt mines in Congo. Everything connects through the cartel. A senator's bribe payment. A dictator's emergency reserve. A covert weapons purchase routed through humanitarian aid organizations. All of it moves across your screens before dawn. You begin carrying 2 phones. One for business, one for survival. At this level, mistakes become expensive. A junior analyst accidentally exposes a transfer chain linked to a Middle Eastern royal family. 6 hours later, his workstation is empty. By morning, his personnel records are gone too. Nobody mentions him again. You stop learning coworkers' birthdays after that. You stop learning their children's names. Attachment creates hesitation. Hesitation creates exposure. One night in Zurich, you oversee the transfer of $480 million through a dead pharmaceutical company registered in Malta. The money funds a regime facing imminent collapse. You know civilians will die if the government survives. You authorize the transfer anyway, because morality is becoming abstract. And abstraction is useful here. When you finally return home after 3 months abroad, your apartment feels staged. Like someone designed it for a person you no longer are. You stare at yourself in the mirror and realize your expression never changes anymore. Not during threats. Not during negotiations. Not during violence. Especially not during violence. Level 5, Inner Circle Banker. You enter the executive floor through biometric scanners and armed checkpoints. This level officially does not exist. No employee records acknowledge it. No government agency knows who works here. The Inner Circle manages sovereign-level clients, presidents, intelligence directors, royal families, transnational cartels. The real money. You attend strategy meetings where countries are discussed like unstable investments. A coup in West Africa threatens mining revenue. An assassination in Eastern Europe disrupts oil transfers. A leaked document in Washington creates exposure risks for 3 senators and 2 defense contractors. Solutions are assigned calmly between bites of catered sushi. At level 5, nobody raises their voice. Powerful people don't need volume. You oversee leverage portfolios now. Not money. Secrets. Videos. Affairs. Corruption files. Medical records. Everything cataloged and insured against betrayal. You learn the cartel's true business model isn't finance. It's dependency. The clients cannot leave because exposure would destroy them. One evening, a billionaire tech founder refuses an emergency liquidity request fee increase. He threatens to move his holdings elsewhere. 3 days later, classified photos emerge linking him to illegal arms transactions. His company's stock collapses 38% before noon. By evening, he calls back. He agrees to the fee. You listen to the conversation without emotion. That scares you more than the blackmail itself. Your old life becomes impossible to maintain. Friends stop calling after you cancel enough dinners. Family members ask vague questions about your work. You answer less each year. The less people know, the longer they survive around you. Level 6, Regional Director. Now people fear entering your office. You oversee operations across the Mediterranean banking corridor, Cyprus, Malta, Monaco, Luxembourg. Assets under your supervision exceed $190 billion. At this level, money stops feeling real entirely. A missing billion-dollar transfer creates annoyance, not panic. You command analysts, handlers, security teams, cyber divisions, and private fixers. Entire careers rise or collapse based on your approval. But authority changes the atmosphere around you. Conversations shorten when you enter rooms. People rehearse sentences before speaking to you. You notice who avoids eye contact. Those people rarely last long. A regulator in Brussels begins investigating shell entities connected to cartel infrastructure. Internal security recommends bribery. You recommend elimination. The room goes silent for 3 full seconds. Then everyone nods. That terrifies you later. Not because of the decision, because it felt efficient. The regulator dies in a boating accident off the Belgian coast 6 weeks later. Markets barely react. Neither do you. At level 6, morality becomes operational inconvenience. You sleep 4 hours a night. Your doctor prescribes medication for stress-induced hypertension. You stop taking it after realizing exhaustion sharpens your instincts. Paranoia becomes professional maintenance. You vary routes daily. Never eat without security present. Never sit facing a window. Never trust anyone whose income depends entirely on your survival. One evening, you open a confidential report detailing internal succession planning. Your name appears under a section labeled Containment Risk. You understand instantly. The cartel fears powerful insiders almost as much as governments do. You are no longer climbing the hierarchy. You are trapped inside it. Level 7, the broker. You stop managing regions. You manage outcomes. Wars, elections, sanctions, commodity prices. Everything creates opportunities for capital movement. And the cartel profits from instability better than anyone alive. At level 7, you negotiate directly with intelligence agencies and sovereign wealth intermediaries. Sometimes the line between criminal and governmental disappears completely. A CIA liaison shares whiskey with a Russian oligarch in one of your private conference rooms. Both hate each other. Both need your infrastructure. That is real power. You become the invisible bridge connecting enemies who publicly deny your existence. Your schedule operates in time zones instead of days. Midnight calls from Riyadh. Dawn briefings in Zurich. Emergency transfers during coups in South America. You barely remember what silence sounds like. Then comes the breach. An encrypted archive leaks internally. Thousands of client records compromised. Panic spreads through upper leadership for the first time since you joined. Executives accuse one another quietly. Security teams disappear overnight. One senior partner shoots himself in a Hong Kong hotel suite before questioning begins. You are assigned damage control, not because you are trusted, because you are feared. You orchestrate account migrations across 11 jurisdictions in 48 hours. Witnesses are relocated. Journalists are bought. Politicians receive emergency donations. By the end of the week, the world moves on. The scandal dies. The cartel survives. And your reward is access to the Founders' Council. The highest level. The people nobody sees. You expect satisfaction. Instead, you feel tired. Because deep down, you finally understand something. There is no top. Only deeper layers of isolation. Level 8, the silent ledger. The Founders' Council meets once a year. No digital devices. No records. No names spoken aloud. The location changes every meeting. This year it's an old fortress overlooking the Adriatic Sea. You arrive by helicopter at dusk. The men and women around the table control private banks, intelligence assets, shipping routes, media conglomerates, and sovereign debt channels. Combined wealth cannot be calculated accurately anymore. But none of them look happy. That surprises you. At level 8, power becomes maintenance. Nothing more. You no longer chase ambition because there is nothing left to gain except survival. Your life exists inside encrypted rooms, controlled travel routes, and permanent suspicion. You trust no one completely, not even yourself. Especially not yourself. Because you know what people become in this system. You helped build it. The council discusses collapsing currencies and upcoming elections like weather forecasts. A government in South America will fail within 6 months. An African port authority must be destabilized for shipping leverage. Decisions happen quietly. Millions of lives move afterward. You sign approvals worth billions with a fountain pen that once belonged to a dead monarch. The symbolism feels intentional. Everything here survives through continuity, not morality. You return to your penthouse overlooking Lake Geneva after the meeting and sit alone in silence. No calls, no family, no real friends. Only encrypted screens glowing softly in dark rooms. You think about the first elevator ride underground years ago. Back when money still felt impressive. Back when fear still felt temporary. Now fear is structural, permanent, necessary. Near midnight, an internal notification appears on your secure terminal. New intake, candidate approved. Age 26. Former compliance analyst. Exceptional discretion ratings. You open the profile briefly before closing it again. Somewhere beneath a casino on the Mediterranean coast, a young recruit steps into a steel elevator for the first time. He thinks this is about money. He thinks intelligence and ambition will protect him. He doesn't understand the real transaction yet. The cartel will give him power slowly and take everything else much faster. The elevator doors open. The system continues.